Hello everybody and welcome to the playthrough for qualifying round in the Bryson 9-hole Cup Expert Division. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And before we start, make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button. Also, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notifications. You can get the Ultimate Tournament Guides Qualifying Round Edition by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. We do offer for expert and master here for the qualifying round, and it doesn't matter what package you have, just that you do have a package and you will get access to the guide. So, info box on the right hand side to get the club distance adjustment, elevation adjustment, also what ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that those are all suggestions and you don't have to follow what I do suggest, but there is always a plan behind it. So, let's go to hole number 1. Hole number 1, we start off with a very simple wind here, and here an eagle is an absolute must. Start at complete max distance, use 4.5 bar topspin, 2 bars of left spin, and we're playing with a Titan ball. Half of the blue ring inside the rough with Apoc 7 and 8, Apocalypse 5 and 6, we have the red ring by the rough line. That's the same with Apocalypse level 4 as we're gonna start further back. Adjust max plus 10, don't push up to max, and try to hit perfect with a slower needle. Those of you that do play with Apocalypse level 4, you should always push up 6 yards after your adjustment to compensate for the less power you do have on the Apocalypse level 4 compared to the Apocalypse level 5 plus. Now we do hit a minor great left, but a great left and a great right is still fine, and we'll still get the ball down towards the green area. And a perfect will have some sort of a chance for an hole-in-one. So we start off with a very simple hole, or at least adjustments made very simple. And, you know, let's hope to get some hole-in-ones to start with. This is an absolute money shot here, where we're gonna start by adding spin, and we're gonna use in this case 8 bars of backspin and 1 bar of side spin to the right. And I'm playing with a Kingmaker to reduce the wind to keep it between 7 and 9 miles per hour. Bottom of the yellow ring by the start of the fringe, with the second bounce in between the dark and the bright green square row, and the final bounce to be in the center of the dark green square row. We do have some, you know, margin of error here because there is a massive funnel on the top right based on where the pin stands. Maximum distance with a 30% over adjustment is what we're using. Power 3 ball settings. Make sure to hit perfect, but I would say I do think personally that a great ball will still have a chance on this hole. Gets up the hill there to the top right and then falls down right that pin for a beautiful hole-in-one. And this shot has been absolutely money. And I do believe that this is going to give you a lot of hole-in-ones if you adjust properly and hit perfect. For hole number 3, start off by stretching your club up to absolute max to find the inner ring, the transparent ring or the green ring or whatever you, not the transparent, but the green ring, to be just by the rough line to the left. Once that is done, you release and you adjust max plus 10. And then we shall apply spin, which is going to be 6 bars of top spin, 3 bars of side spin to the right. But as you could see, I didn't push up to max, which means that we're going to use max overpower, max curl to the right, with, you know, we're going to have a slow needle. And we always get a slow needle with overpower while using overpower. Why not be pushing up to max? So now we're going to be somewhere around 405 to 415, and that's going to be absolutely perfect, because now we're going to have our first bounce on the fringe, and we're going to use the yardage that we just got, which was 408, and trying in that case to drop this one based on a slider percentage. 20% elevation is what we're using, and when it comes to the slider percentage here, I would recommend to go with 84% slider. I, however, don't use 84% slider here for this shot. I use 3 decimals more to get this ball to, what can I say? To get this ball to miss. Sorry, 2 decimals more. And that will cause the miss to the right. I land nicely on the frame speed is perfect, but we need that 0.2 less. And therefore 84% slider from 408 yards with 20% elevation is going to do the trick and get that ball to drop. Hole number 4 is what I would consider the hardest of the holes to drop in expert in qualifying round, and I'm gonna explain why once we have talked through the shot. Start at complete max with a power 0 ball. Look for the red ring to be just by the edge of the bunker and rough line. 3.2 bars of backspin, and I would like us to play with 0.9 bars of left spin. Adjustment shall be 1-to-1, which is medium distance plus 10 power 3 ball settings. You can see here in the end that I'm using overpower. I do want the bottom of the ball to cover the bottom teeth, because otherwise we will most likely fall, or not most likely, we will fall short, and if we are then very unlucky, we will clip the rough before the fairway, and then it's somewhat not game over, but it's gonna be tough to save it from there. Bounces nicely, rolls up towards the pin. Obviously, here we're not in the video using the 0.9 left spin that we wanted to. We want to play with that instead of the 0.8 that we used in the video. What I would say here, that the reason I feel this is the hardest par 3 to play is obviously the overpower. It's tough. The reason I'm using overpower instead of adjusting more is due to the fact that we will go in between clubs if we adjust more. So then I use the overpower to remove the fact that we're going to not be able to do the full adjustment. Also, we do play on a very sloped fairway, so if we just are a little bit off, or, you know, in the end, if the overpower is a little bit too little, too much, it's going to push the ball differently. That's the same if you have a different wind angle. That's also going to push the ball differently, and that's why it's going to be difficult to get this one to drop all the time. You're most likely going to be close, but it's not going to be drops all the time due to the reasons I just explained. Hole number 5, we're going to play up to the left-hand side, playing towards the island, which is, you know, the island kind of works like a bowl, meaning that, you know, you can hit more left and more right on that one, and it's still going to fall down into the center. 4.5 bar top spin, 2 bar side spin to the left, starting at the plus 10 yard mark with Apocalypse 5 plus. If you do play with Apocalypse level 4, you start at a maximum distance, because the difference between Apoc 5 plus and Apocalypse level 4 is 6 yards. Maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment is what we are using, and our aim goal here is to get the ball, yeah, to be around 365 to 370 yards. 369, from there we will be playing with our sniper, and now the position is absolutely everything. So I'm not gonna play with any spin whatsoever, looking to have the second bounce before the green, and then the tip of the ball guideline somewhat pointing towards the left side of the hole. It's hard to see obviously when we are so far behind the hole, but you want to do your best to have the aim towards the left side of the hole, not straight. From the 369 yard mark, I play this one medium distance with a 15% over adjustment, so 50% slider. But obviously, looking at the end result, we would need maybe a click more, but I would say more, it's that we're not really aiming correctly with our ball guideline position. Perfect ball, and you can see speed is good, you know, maybe a smidge too hot, but this would still have dropped if we would be hitting the pin. So very close. And hole number 5 offers a good chance for an albatross. Hole number 6, and this is a very good chance for an eagle. I would say that this is a must drop. So we're gonna start with the rock, half of the 4th ring, or the transparent ring, into the rough on the left at complete max distance, with whatever level of the rock that we're using. 3.5 bar top spin, 1 bar of side spin to the right, and we're gonna play maximum distance plus 10 from this position. So we do adjust, and then we're going to take our shot. What I need to add here also is, for those of you playing with the rock level, the rock level 7, push up 1 ring after your adjustment to compensate for the less power you have on the rock 7 compared to the rock 8 and 9. Perfect ball, and now we're looking to get the ball not as far down the fairway possible, because we would rather want to play with a short iron than with a wedge for the second shot. 363, that's absolutely perfect. So what I will do now is that I'm going to go to minimum distance of my club. I will push up 3 rings from here, Because here I'm using take shot button to push up 3 rings. Or while I'm done that, or like when I'm done that, I will apply backspin only, no side spin whatsoever. So backspin only to get the ball guideline to the hole. Not through the hole, to the hole. No elevation here, and when we do play the percentage of slider, is that we're going to use the amount of slider based on how many rings we push up. So 3 rings push up equals 3% slider. That's going to be the same if you would push up 10 rings, it would be 10% slider. And that's why we're using the thorn in a scenario like this, because it's going to be a lot easier to use the thorn knowing that we have 1% slider for every ring, instead of having, you know, the falcon or the hornet, which has a better accuracy, and therefore it's going to be completely different numbers. Very good chance once again on hole number 6. For the final of the par 3s, we shall be playing here with the quarterback. Start with any power 3 ball that you do have. In complete minimum distance, look for the top of the left of the red ring to be just by the rough line. Then we shall apply spin. We're going to use 0.2 bars of top spin, 2.8 bars of right spin. And you can see that the ball guideline goes towards the top of the green. And this, you know, looks weird, but we do have headwind and ball guideline will be compressed, so it's very important that you're not using less spin even though it looks weird. Push the rings if possible, because pushing the rings here will remove the tough part of pulling the rings when it is such a steep hill, and it's going to be very difficult to be accurate with the minor details. Minimum distance, no elevation, and hit perfect, and you're gonna be close. And this time we get it right at pin for a beautiful hole in 1. This is also a tough par 3 together with hole number 4. It is tough, but I would say that this one will most likely give us more drops than what hole number 4 will do. For hole number 8, we are going to lay up on the right hand side. Why? It's because we cannot reach for the green directly by going on the left when we do have headwind. I'm going to go with 3 bars of left spin. I'm gonna play with 4 bars of top spin. And once again, the plan is to get just into a decent distance on the right hand side. Start at plus 11 with the blue ring to the rough to the left with the rock level 8 and the rock level 9. The rock level 7 you start at max, and it's very important that when you do play with the rock level 7 that you use overpower the half amount of rings that you adjust into. So if you adjust 2 rings into overpower, you go with 1 ring of overpower for an example. The rock level 8 and the level 9, you shall not use any overpower whatsoever. Maximum distance plus 5 when it comes to the adjustment. Now, second shot, we're gonna be very close to minimum distance. Go to minimum distance, then you push up the amount of rings that gives you the top of the yellow ring to be by the edge of the rough line with the grizzly. Apply spin, which is gonna be 0.8 bars of backspin, so the ball guideline go approximately 3 green squares through the hole. Once that is done, it's very important then that you have your slider ready. You shall be, in this case, be playing for 2 rings push up, as we did here. It's a 3% slider, 25% elevation. So for an example, with the grizzly level 9 here that we're playing with, one ring is 1%, 2 rings is 3%, 3 rings is 4%, 4 rings is 5%, and so forth. So it's very minor differences per ring here, but in the end, you need to do that type of adjustment, otherwise you will be off. Right at pin for an eagle here on hole number 8, and as we do not have tailwind, this is actually going to be a pretty hard one to drop from time to time. But if you do hit perfect times 2 with the adjustment explained here in the video, you will have a very good chance. For hole number 9, we shall attempt a power hook. Here it is very important that you do play with Apocalypse level 4 plus as minimum. Yellow ring to the left by the rough line with Apocalypse level 7 and 8. If you do play with Apocalypse level 4, 5 or 6, you shall in that case go with approximately half of the yellow ring outside the rough to the left. Max overpower and max curl to the left, then we're going to attempt a power hook where the ball is going to bounce first on the fairway on this and then on the second fairway and roll up to give us a wedge towards the pin. The reason I'm not listing any type of elevation for the drive, the reason for that is that we're going to use a fixed position. So we're always going to use the same position here and somewhat gamble a little bit that we will have a good outcome. Every time when we do play a hook or a slice, it's always going to be impossible to design a shot that's going to cover all the variables such as wind strength and wind angle for the drive. But after a bunch of testing on this shot, we have seen a very, a decent similarity of the different wind angles and the wind strength and stuff. The only thing we could say though is that if you do play with Apocalypse level 4, we would strongly advise you to not play with that club if you're not having 10.5 miles per hour or more. So it's either a Berserker ball or any other type of power 5 wind zero ball. Now the second shot, we are going to play this one here based on yardage actually. So we're going to use the yardage that we did get on our drive to try to get this one to drop. No spin is the plan here, 20% elevation. But then let's say, to give you as a reference, 490 yards shall be played 73% slider. Right, so 490 yards plays 73% slider, 20% elevation, and then obviously the power 5 ball settings. Perfect ball here, bounce on the fairway, roll down towards the pin for a lovely albatross on hole number 9. So good chance in my opinion, but the drive is obviously everything. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Expert Division qualifying round wind here in the Bryson 9-hole cup. Make sure to get the ultimate tournament guides for the qualifying round expert or a master by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Once again, thank you for watching and good luck in your Golf Clash game.